We have the special meeting ahead of the regular meeting too. For the property tax.
Here's the property tax statement.
Okay.
Property tax
If you
notice.
want to, that's fine.
Okay, audio is turned on to see all
No, we don't push it through the regular.
Okay, we will call the meeting to order. This is the time and the place for a special board meeting I guess let's approve that agenda. Are there any changes to that agenda? Then is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Faltis Morales, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 7-0. And the only item up is the public hearing on the 25-26 certified budget proposed tax notice. So we will open that public hearing now. Is there anyone here to give comment about the 25-26 certified budget proposed tax notice? Okay. Were there any written comments sent to you, Randy, about that tax notice?
No written comments were received. I did field a handful of phone calls asking questions about the statement, but no formal comments were received.
Then I will close the public hearing on the 25-26 certified budget proposed tax notice. And we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Everybody, Faltis, Hernandez?
He's going to stick around. So
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
agenda item to the beginning.
That meeting is adjourned.
That was Faltis Morales.
Yes. And we will, as soon as I can do it,
Give me a second here.
whenever you're ready, Randy.
I got to stop one meeting and start the next. Okay, I'm ready.
You good?
Yep.
Okay. Then we'll call to order the March 24, 2025 regular board meeting of the Marshtown Community School District. Welcome to all of you joining us here this evening. Welcome as well to anybody who might be watching on via the live stream or tuning in at a later date or time. We'll do introductions of the board members here before we go too much farther. Starting to my right, Zach Wall, Elizabeth Wise, and Sarah Faltis. To my left, Karina Hernandez, Maria Morales, and Leah Stanley. Joining me here at the center of the table, Mr. Randy Denham, our board secretary, Dr. Theron Schutte, our superintendent of schools, and I am Sean Heitman. We've got two of our student school board reps here this evening, Caitlin Yepez Ramirez and Legay Paw. I don't know if anybody else is coming later or not. I guess we'll all just wait and see. A couple of announcements before we do much else. There's a pink sign-up sheet there on the speaker's table for anybody who wants to address the board during public comment time. You will be given 5 minutes to speak to the board. Please understand that Iowa law prohibits the discussion of specific employees of the district or their job performance. Please also understand that in accordance with board policy, board members will not respond to comments made during public comment so that we can comply with open meeting laws. Did I miss them? Or did I get them all? Got them all. All right. With those things taken care of, would you all please join me in reading the mission statement of the Marshalltown Community School District? We develop learners who have the knowledge, skills, and positive mindset to successfully pursue a meaningful future through personalized learning experiences. And please stand as you're able and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any changes to the agenda this evening?
I think the only change is that we are going to move 5.04, the resolution adopting plans, specifications, to the beginning of that section on buildings and grounds.
Okay. Then is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Faltis, Wise. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. That motion carries 7-0. And now we need to open the public hearing on the proposed resolution to consider continued participation in the instructional support program. Is there anyone here who would like to give comment to the board on the proposed resolution to consider continued participation in the instructional support program? Were any written comments received regarding the continued participation in the instructional support program?
There were not.
Then I will close the public hearing on the proposed resolution to consider continued participation in the instructional support program and open the public hearing on the plan specifications, form of contract, and estimated total cost for the Franklin Field renovation project. Anyone here who'd like to give comment on the plan specifications, form of contract, and estimated total cost for the Franklin Field renovation project? Randy, were any written comments received on the plan specifications and form of contract and estimated total cost for the Franklin Field renovation project?
As a brokered record, no.
Then I will close the public hearing on the plan specifications, form of contract, and estimated total cost for the Franklin Field renovation project. And we'll move on to recognitions.
I'd like to invite Ms. Williams and Anna Maria to come up to talk about a special student service project.
Good evening.
Welcome.
So we were approached by Anna Maria and her host family about joining her, Hoagland students, in creating some care cards for a service project that she was working on. So that's our small contribution. I'm going to tell a little bit about where we did the cards and kind of how we contributed in that way, and then I'll turn it over to Anna Maria. So we have a time in our day called Bobcat Buddies that happens once a month, and the idea is every child has a champion at school outside their classroom teachers and other teachers, and so we have the same group of kids. We try to keep them from year to year, and we have about 10 or 11 assigned to each of us, but we partner up for a group of about 20 to 25 kids. And during that time, we worked on perseverance as one of our areas of focus during the month. And so we made these cards for to go in these care bags that Anna Maria is creating for kids in foster care. And the idea is keep swimming, show perseverance, you can do this, you can get through the hard times. And basically our students colored a positive message on the front and then opened the card up inside, and we worked together to write some personalized messages so that when the child receives a care bag, they also receive kind of an inspirational card for them as well. So now I'll turn it over to Anna Maria, and she can tell you all about the project.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Anna Maria Paladin. I'm exchange student from country of Georgia, and I'm currently spending my exchange year in Marshalltown. So the idea of this project was born when I realized that as an exchange student and a scholar of the Future Leaders Exchange program, I needed to give back to the community that welcomed me so warmly, and I consider that United States give me really wide and diverse opportunities here. So I started to think about what can I do to show gratitude toward this community now. So I decided to make something dedicated to service project. I wanted to help people who live here. So I did demographic research, and I found out that in Marshalltown community, we have up to 100 foster care kids here. And I think that this is a group that needs most support right now. So for that, I decided to create the goodie bags for them, and those include the snacks, stuffed toys, puzzles and games, some essential stuff, and the most important part is these letters that are handwritten by elementary school kids. I plan to make up to 100 of those bags, and those will be distributed before April 1st. Yeah, this project is really meaningful for me, and I think it's like, it is really small thing to do, but it's emotionally really impactful.
You guys have questions for either one of us?
It's an amazing project, so thank you for taking that on.
Thank you.
It's a great project. We're happy to be approached to be a part of it.
Yeah, that's very nice. Very
And
nice.
it's nice to see that, you know, you had that inspiration and that's what made you want to do these for others.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question unrelated to the project? Which is, I'm not trying to, you said you've had a lot of diverse experiences here in the United States. What's one of the best things that you've been able to experience here?
Well, probably the diverse culture and people here, because in my country, we don't have like much diversity that it is here. I met like many interesting people here. I got introduced to different kinds of people who think different way, have different religions, different attitudes toward different topics. So I think this experience really made me realize how big world is, and it widened my sight to see. So I think I grew as a person.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Good. Awesome.
I think we're
Great
good.
job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to the consent agenda, we've got minutes from the March 3rd regular board meeting and the March 10th special board meeting. Jackie, any items of note in personnel?
Good evening. Just a couple of notes about some of our retirees. So from the principals, Mr. Glenn and Mrs. Kell, Jenny Edel has served students and families in Marshalltown since 2007. During her tenure in Marshalltown, she has been at Miller Middle School, primarily as a 7th grade science teacher. The past 2 years, she transitioned to the role of Miller's Success Center teacher, where she worked with smaller groups of students who needed additional support, both academically and socially. Throughout her time at Miller, Jenny has always been open to a challenge. Historically an early adopter, Jenny was a part of the first group of teachers to explore project-based learning at Miller, and even developed a computer science exploratory course that, for a digital immigrant, was not something that many would have undertaken. But Jenny approached the situation as an opportunity to learn and grow right alongside of her students. Family has always been very important to Jenny, both her own and her Miller family. She has always been involved in building a strong culture at Miller. Jenny wants the needs of our staff, students, and their families to be met, and consistently advocates for what she believes is right. While she may have been toying with the idea of retirement, when she found out that she would soon be a grandmother, she needed no further convincing. She will miss her passion, or we will miss her passion and advocacy at Miller, but we wish her nothing but the best for this exciting new chapter in her life. We have a feeling that the title of grandmother will be one that she holds proudly and firmly to her heart. So exciting times for Jenny. Also retiring this year, very popular teacher at the high school, Mrs. Shelley Chandler. Principal Bolivar writes that Shelley Chandler has been a dedicated member of the Marshalltown community since 1990, bringing warmth, wisdom, and unwavering support to students, parents, and colleagues alike. After starting her career in another district, she quickly became a guiding light at Marshalltown, serving as a mentor, problem solver, encourager, colleague, and friend. Her impact over nearly 37 years in education is immeasurable, and while we celebrate her well-earned retirement with joy, we do so with heavy hearts. It is impossible to capture the depth of her contributions in just a few words, but her legacy of kindness and dedication will continue to inspire us for years to come. And one of her colleagues wrote that she had the pleasure of teaching next to Shelley for 8 years. This is from Holly Hipsley. And the very first day I met her, she made me feel special and welcome at MHS. We became great friends who supported and truly cared for each other. Shelley's passion for education and relationship building is infectious and inspiring. She is the heart of MHS, a lifelong Bobcat, and the teacher every student loves. So,
I remember when I was a freshman, it was like her second year teaching here. And so she's like one of those teachers that you remember, like you said, 30 some years later, right?
Yes.
That she's the one that you think about when you think about high school and positive experiences. So she will be missed.
Yep, that'd be fabulous. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jackie. We've got a few interagency agreements and contracts, a renewal agreement with Iowa Local Government Risk Pool Commission to renew district participation in the Government Risk Pool Natural Gas Program. A speaking agreement with Eric Ream for the next year's kickoff and a community meeting August 21st. An agreement between Morningside University and the school district for teacher education clinical experience placements. An agreement with Code HS for Marshalltown High School's Business Department renewal subscription. A renewal agreement with Prisms. A change order with Braun Intertech for geotechnical evaluation for Miller Middle School. And a facility use agreement with Iowa Valley Conference Center for a paraprofessional development day. And we have one student special ed agreement with Nevada Community School District. Are there questions about any of those contracts or agreements? Looking at open enrollments, we have one in, 7, I think, out, if I counted correctly.
These are all for next school year.
Those are all for next school year. Yep, for the 25-26 school year. Randy, any items to note in the bills or in the monthly financials?
No, sir.
Any questions for Randy about the bills or the monthly financials? Then is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Faltus Morales? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 7-0. Nobody's on the pink sheet, so Mr. Toronis. And everyone else.
Right in track.
Yeah, it really was, pretty much everyone else.
Yeah.
Good evening. We want to thank you all for allowing us to come speak tonight. My name is Eliana Rodink. I'm a senior at MHS and a member of our leadership committee in the Healthcare Careers Club.
My name is Mia Saswata. I'm a senior and I'm also a member of the leadership committee of the Healthcare Careers Club.
Hi, my name is Nigel Wichtor and I'm also a member of the Health Careers Club. Nice to meet you.
My name is Lowen Thu, and I'm in 10th grade, and I'm interested in being a nurse and the radiology.
Hi, my name is Paloy Hart, and I'm a junior, and I'm interested in doing vet.
Hi, my name is Giggs Java. I'm a senior, and I'm interested in doing psychology.
Hello, my name is Vanessa. I am a ninth grader, and I am interested in going into surgery.
Hi, my name is Masasu. I'm a junior, and I'm interested in going into nurse practitioning.
Hi, my name is Bria Parks, and I am interested in medical malpractice law.
Hi, my name is Brenda Magaña Martinez. I'm a 10th grader at MHS, and I'm interested in being a NICU nurse.
Hi, my name is Lisbeth Custodio. I'm a 10th grader and I'm interested in being a labor and delivery nurse.
Good evening, school board members. I'm Lege, as you guys already know. I aspired to become an anesthesiologist, and I joined the Health and Careers Club because I wanted to just learn more about what I'm really passionate about.
My name is Caitlin. I'm a senior. I will be studying dietetics, and I'm part of the social media committee.
So I'm going to share a little bit about our goals within the Healthcare Careers Club. So we have a lot of diversity within the interests, so we try to encompass a lot of different interests and career paths that people are wanting to go into. So one of our biggest goals is to gain experience in the healthcare field. Like I said, we deal with a lot of different fields within the healthcare system. Another goal that we have is to help students discover the many career opportunities within the healthcare field, as well as building student engagement in our community through volunteering. So we do a lot of volunteer projects and just a lot of community involvement projects within our club. I'm going to hand it over to Mia.
I joined the Health Careers Club to explore the career opportunities the health field had to offer. Though I decided to go into education, I stayed in the club to have opportunities to volunteer. Being on the leadership team, I helped plan activities and demonstrated my leadership capabilities.
So the Health and Careers Club is one of the club I'm mostly involved in, and I just wanted to share my experiences with the club. Through this club, we have been able to visit various medical centers and just gain insight into different healthcare professionals. And additionally, through this club, I also had the opportunity to job shadow a CRNA, and I aspired to become an anesthesiologist, and it was really great to see just the first-hand experience of what I'm really passionate about. So,
I actually initially joined this club because of my sister. I really didn't know what I wanted to do, so now that I do, there are still a lot of career paths where I'm like, whoa, I didn't know that this existed, how much schooling it takes. So it's really cool getting to meet new people and have someone, like a mentor, that we can look up to and ask any questions that we want answers to and stuff. Yeah.
So my career path is holistic medicine, and when my friends first introduced me to this club, I was a bit skeptical. I thought it was going to be a waste of time, but I joined anyways because I was lost and I wanted to figure out my career pathway, and I'm happy to say that this club has helped me narrow down my pathway, so thank you.
I love this group. We have had a lot of great experiences this year, and purpose of our coming together, and I wanted you to see the faces of those kids who have been just integral parts of our club this year with volunteering and planning. We do have a wonderful out-of-state trip planned in Chicago. The University of Illinois School of Public Health has opened the doors for us to come and do some great learning about health law and the processes and just supporting communities. They're going to share with us the programs that they have, undergraduate and graduate. So that's going to be one of the highlights of our trip. Later on in the afternoon, we'll be visiting University of Chicago, and they will be giving us an orientation and a tour. The two universities that we will be attending, University of Chicago, and then later Northwestern University on Thursday. Those are two very competitive schools. And so it's going to be a great experience for our kids to, especially the younger ones, to see what it takes to get into a school that is very highly regarded, and especially in the Chicago area. So we are here today simply to request permission to attend our field experience, again, to those three universities. Good job. Do you have any questions for us?
You're taking 23 kids, is that
Yeah,
right?
23, so there's another additional 10, I think. 2, 4, 6, 8, yeah.
How many kids do you have in the club total?
That is a great question. So we have 118 signed up to participate throughout the year. So typically we would have anywhere between 30 to 40 to 60 students, depending on the event. We have many experiences that happen during the school day where we're able to get a lot more of the students to attend. We also do evening experiences, so that number kind of dwindles, but the opportunity for students throughout the year, they can join at any time and they can participate at any level that they choose to. This group have met some pretty strong requirements, participating in learning experiences and volunteer activities consistently.
Any other questions?
And 4 chaperones, 5 chaperones?
We're still working on that.
Okay.
Those are the ones that we started with, and definitely Dan Taronis is going, and Hector is right there. John is right there. The 2 ladies, we're still trying to. We have a couple of parents that want to join us, so we're hoping that we might get a couple of parents to attend. So that still is. We're hoping to have 5.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I do. Sorry, I turned my microphone. And you guys raised the funds yourself?
Thank you. Yes.
Great job.
And we're still. We have a luncheon coming up. We're doing a Pizza Ranch fundraiser tomorrow night or Wednesday night. We're planning a pickleball tournament. Any pickleballers?
I'm up for Pizza Ranch.
Second.
So we have.
Yeah, I'm there with the pizza.
But we are right there with them.
Good job raising the funds.
Yeah, very nice.
Well, if there are no other questions, then is there a motion to approve the out-of-state field trip to the University of Chicago from April 22nd through the 24th as presented?
Move to approve. Second.
Hernandez, Morales, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 7-0.
It'll be a great experience.
Yes.
Enjoy.
Thank you. Have fun.
Jackie, you're up.
Okay. I'm so cold in here. I don't feel cold yet.
Okay, so with the onboarding of 20-plus students to work within the district, their hours vary. None of them are full-time employees. In fact, most of them are under the age of 18. And so there are a lot of things that our regular employees benefit from that our students do not. So rather than try to refer them to the larger employee handbook, we thought it would be better to give them a reference that is more specific to them. And we could easily call it an appendix if we needed to, but it has a lot of the information from the employee handbook that you can see. Amy will start scrolling to the table of contents. We took out some of the benefits that are not available to the students, like EAP. We took out the guidelines for licensed staff because they are classified. You can see that's crossed out. We no longer have an option to work from home. They're paraeducators. We need them to work in the building. And then that second part, you can see all of the leaves that will be deleted that are not available to them. So when we do the onboarding with our students, they come in to central office, they meet with Sarah, they sit down, and she welcomes them just like she would any other employee. But we want to make sure that the information that they receive is relevant to them. She did work with them solely as a group of students so that there wasn't a crossover of information. Because there's a lot of stuff that's coming at that, and for some of them, this is their first job. So we wanted to make sure that they were as successful as possible. So again, as you scroll through this document, you'll see I took out EAP there, and there's just a couple places where I added some information, took out the licensed disciplinary guidelines, left in the classified disciplinary guidelines for them. And one of the skill sets I think that we really want them to be proficient in is that communication piece. So as we go down to, we're just about there, Amy, reporting absences and attendance on page 19. You will see at the top of page 20 that we did add there because they do not use Subfinder Express like other employees do because they don't have leave. But they do still need to communicate with their supervisor, their classroom teacher, and the principals in the building. And so we just really wanted to reiterate that, make sure you're communicating. This is a skill that you have to have. They do use a time clock, so Sarah showed them how to do that. They, again, do not have leave, so there's a huge section that we can skip there. Benefits. I left in all of the board policies regarding smoking on school grounds, physical restraint, substance-free workspace, those kinds of things were all left in there for students to reference, which they get over and over again. They will not be handling money at any time. They also do not have building keys. Their ID is simply to identify them as an employee of the district. It doesn't operate printing machines or anything like that, so there is still a fee that we charge all of our employees for any lost or stolen ID cards. Drills we want them to participate in and be knowledgeable about. They still have some responsibilities. They all went through child abuse training. They did the shorter version of that, but they are still responsible for doing that. The technology use policy still comes into place. And if they become injured, obviously workplace injuries are something that they should report. Even if they are student employees. So a much shorter version for them. But if they have questions, I want them to be able to go to something that they can quickly find answers to them or reach out to us to support them.
Do we issue them separate laptops in addition to their Chromebook they already have?
No, we do not.
Okay.
If for whatever reason they decide to stay when they're seniors, like after they graduate, so will they get rehired, or is this?
Oh no, we would just transfer them into
into
change their hours.
Okay.
And then do a transfer.
Okay.
Yeah, we would love for them to stay on. We do have today we onboarded a student who's in college at MCC, and so his hours are a little wonky, but I mean, where else are you going to find a job where the employer's willing to work with you around your class schedule? Where one day you have 6 hours, the next day you have 7 hours, you know, those kinds of things. You leave and go to class, and then you come back and continue to work. We have several of those, actually, but today we specifically onboarded a college student. Yeah.
Well, hopefully before the end of the school year, we can have a selection, representative sample of those folks come before us and talk about their experience.
We'll arrange for that, and I will arrange for those principals to be present as well, because they have spoken very highly of the students that they have brought into their building, and their interactions with the students, with the younger students. Yeah, absolutely. So tonight was just a review, and we'll wait till next time to approve.
Any other questions at all?
Nope.
Okay.
Thank you.
Nope, yep, it'll be back at the April 7th meeting for approval then.
Thank you for taking the time to doing this.
You betcha. They were all my kids to begin with.
Good evening, school board members.
Welcome back.
Hello.
Hi. So starting off with our presentation, before spring break, the National Honor Society had a bake sale, and this is one of the fundraisers that a lot of the students really enjoy. The students bring baked goods from home, and it always ends up doing really well. And for this bake sale, we managed to raise more than $300, and with these funds, we will be donating them to charity.
The spring musical happened on March 7th and 8th. It was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. We had a lot of young students participate in this, pretty new group, and they brought their hard work, dedication, and talent to bring the story to life.
So recently, the Bobcat Cafe has been opened, and the cafe is operated by students who partake in culinary and career classes. So when you guys are free, I hope you guys will be able to, go to downtown and grab any baked goods or any coffee. And with this, this allowed the students to learn more about running a business and having hands-on experience while having fun. And this is a really great opportunity for them.
The orchestra concert was there, where was this? I think this was a couple of weeks ago. The orchestra performed some pieces from Peter and the Wolf, and the mariachi band also played, and they featured multiple solos from middle school students. They did a very good job.
And we would also like to recognize one of our cheerleaders, Nick Savati, where he performed at the Iowa High School Boys Basketball Tournament Championship Games. And he is one of just 21 cheerleaders selected for the All-State team, which is a really big accomplishment for the MHS cheer team. So congratulations to Nick.
9 seniors in the IJAG attended competitive events, career discovery, professional development, networking, and a career fair in this conference. The creative decision-making team took first place, and they will be competing at the IJAG Nationals in Indianapolis next month. Rama was also selected to represent Iowa and is a candidate for the National Career Association.
Any questions?
It's a lot, having just come off spring break. I didn't think there would be so many.
Yes.
Do you guys know what hours the Bobcat Cafe is open?
During school hours, I think.
7:30 to 11:30,
Yeah.
Monday through Friday.
Thanks, Randy.
And I'm pretty sure it's all just student ran, so, yeah.
Okay. Has anyone been? And?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Good reviews?
Scones, chocolate chip.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, wait.
So for the book study, we had chapters 19 through 22. I'll admit I read mine 2.5 weeks ago, so I had to refresh myself a little bit. I think for the most part, the topic was dealing with change, and then he starts to talk about establishing legacy as you got into that last chapter, which I think is going to be the theme in the remaining chapters that we have. Our last reading will be for the next meeting, and the author Eric's going to join us for a little bit of Q&A. But his next book, The 21st Smile, which is yet to be released, is about establishing personal and professional legacy. So kind of naturally feeds into that. I found it very interesting, especially when I went back and reviewed it, because Jackie, Shauna, and I have been engaged in a lot of administrative screening interviews over the course of the last 2 weeks. And of course, a number of the questions talk about leading change, being part of change, and how challenging it is sometimes to get people to move off the status quo or to move forward. And so it's always quite interesting to hear perspective from candidates on how best to help other adults move forward with change. And I think part of that difficulty is that for a lot of people, change kind of somewhat rocks their world, or as he says, creates chaos, in their lives. And so how do you help manage that?
I think one thing that I thought of was when the dad was helping him carry the couch, and he was like, "Dad, you don't have to help do that." He was like, well, my dad helped me, so I'm going to help you. And I just think of my parents always helping me when I needed help. Like my dad buys my running shoes for me. And so you know what's going to happen? I'm going to have to buy my kids running shoes when I get older because Dad always did it for me. So, that part really spoke to me. It's a good habit to have, though, running. So.
Yeah, I thought a lot of what he talked about with change and how, you can fight against that, right? Because it just feels harder than just staying where you are. And how oftentimes, his example of no, actually sometimes staying where you are is harder than the change, right? It takes more work to not do something in a lot of ways. So I thought that was an interesting way of putting it.
We talk about change a lot, in a corporate setting.
Sure.
And so I'm I go through Potters and 8 Steps and all the different other resources and books and methodologies that we use. This is more story, kind of based in real life examples, but you can see those elements of that change management cycle and creating the burning platform to need to change, and how acceptance of change and dealing with change kind of goes throughout the 2 different styles, I guess, more academic versus his storytelling.
I also like the part where it talked about ensuring that we take the time to praise those that have been impactful person in our lifetime. And sometimes you find out that they didn't even know that, I recently shared and thanked someone that to me they were impactful in my life, in my journey with my current employment, and they had no idea. Just because we've never really had a relationship side by side, but I would see them from far away from a different lens, and just created that inspiration, not as my mentor, because I have my own mentor, but still saw them as a person that I felt the need that I needed to give them that praise and acknowledgement to say, hey, you created that inspiration to me when I first started. This is kind of the skills or things that I was looking into someone, and I saw them in you, and it was just meaningful for that person that I shared with, that we don't usually conversate on a daily basis, but I thought it was good for them to know that.
I thought of the pandemic forced us to change, and how much harder it was to resist the change, like versus just use that momentum to move, like come on, duck your head, move forward, you can do it together, kind of a thing. Like we finally embraced it, and now it's amazing how much more efficient we are sometimes with our time. Like instead of traveling 15 minutes somewhere to have a 30-minute meeting, we have that much time that we can just join virtually quickly. And so it's interesting how we've adopted new practices, but it was like overnight. This is how it's going to work, and we had to use that momentum to make that change. We didn't have a choice.
Girls, anything you want to add?
I guess we could tie that into like going to college. We only have 2 months left. It's going to happen. So kind of just like soaking in the moments right now and embracing the change and learning how to be adaptable.
Yeah, for me, chapter 22, I really like the topic about, legacy. And then, like, through this chapter, it made me really think about, like, what kind of legacy I want to leave and how I can start making a positive difference. So, like, maybe after, like, my years of college, I can come back, in town and kind of just share my stories with, others in the community and inspire them. So, yeah.
I'm going to hold you up to it.
Make sure you add that to the minutes.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody. We'll
you.
finish the book for the next meeting. And come prepared with some questions for the author.
He's here next time.
Is he here next time?
Yeah, we're going to buzz him in next time.
So have a question or two for the author. Okay, we are doing the Franklin Field. The plans, specs, form a contract for the Franklin Field project.
Do you want to show the full development cost document, or?
I think just that post-bid document, that one.
Yep. So this is our updated budget. Currently, we sit about $1.8 million under the last budget you saw. That has to do with the, I'll say, preliminary reviews of the bids we did receive. The majority of that under budget, I'll say, bucket came from the field construction itself. The turf, the drainage systems underneath the field, the contractor that we were working with on the budget chose not to bid. And we did have multiple bids on that. Those bids came in lower than what the contractor we were working with shared with us for budget dollars. So that's the large difference between the last budget that we shared with you and this one.
Don't apologize for that.
Yeah.
So we're basically splitting the difference between the original and the last one with this.
Yes. Yep.
And the only thing this doesn't include is a concession building, which is yet to go out to
It
bid.
is not bid. The estimated cost is shown at the top.
Okay.
But you do have an estimated cost for that in there.
Yes,
Yeah.
so that is still included
But we
in
just
here as
don't
an
know what
estimate.
the true cost will be.
Correct. With the lag of that building design, it will come at a later date.
Questions, comments? Then, is there a motion to approve the resolution adopting the plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimate of costs for the Franklin Field renovation project as presented?
Second.
Faultus Wise. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no.
No.
Motion carries 5-1. 'Cause Zach's
left,
gone.
So a reminder that Thursday's special meeting in part will be the recommendation for approval for bids for the project, which is both this part, these bids, as well as an agreement with Bowl and Recreation to do the 2 elementary playground pieces. And then, again, what will be lagging behind by a few weeks to a month will be the concession building.
Correct. And the Boland cost is shown on this full development sheet as well. I guess I didn't point that out, but that is included here.
Yeah, the meat of the meeting, however, will be Envision giving an update on the Reimagine Miller project and where things are at with that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
Welcome back, gentlemen.
Thank you.
It's been a while.
So the first one's the Tornado Safe Room change order. This is the final change order for the project. It includes proposal requests 10 through 18, several smaller items. The total of this is $24,000. The biggest one, which is just about $10,000, is the water service location. It was different than it was initially thought. Another big one was the painting of the west wall blue, so it matched the metal roof. So we got the blue metal roof and the back wall is all blue. The rest of them are pretty small. Things like adding an outlet for or water connection for a cappuccino machine, outlet for popcorn machine, some small things. But if you got any questions on the construction, Travis is here from Larson Construction Company to answer anything you might have on the Tornado Safe Room project.
So I know that we had a few things that we talked about repeatedly that we're waiting till weather. One was that retention water area and making sure that that was developed where it needed to be based on CGA's plans. And then I think the other was trying to figure out what, if anything, could be done to try to patch or whatever, some of that concrete that got damaged with all the traffic that was going over it. So I don't know that we ever came to a resolution on that. But.
So well, I think most of that was.
And seeding for those landscaped areas, because a lot of that didn't take.
Yeah, so landscaping, getting grass to grow can be readdressed this spring when it can get started. The concrete, I think the majority of it was replaced. We went and walked that day. So I don't know if there's any more that needs to be replaced, but we can definitely walk that again. So that day we met, we went out. So most of that's been replaced through there.
Was that after football or
What's
in
that?
the fall after football season or?
I can't remember exactly when it was replaced, but after that meeting, we walked out and we had that PDF that showed everything that had been replaced. So yeah.
Okay.
We can, and if there's some small areas to review, but yeah, we walked that with Eric. So yeah, if there's any other areas to be
Before the replacement or after the replacement?
After the replacement.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. So if there's some small areas, I think that was maybe some small areas that would needed to be possibly looked at after a certain amount of time, but I know the majority of that, it was replaced along the whole length there, so.
Okay.
And Kevin, you said this is the final change order for the Tornado Safe Room?
It is the final change order for the Tornado Safe Room. There's just some of those closeout items that need to be addressed, and it's mostly related to the grass primarily.
Okay. Any other questions?
No.
Then is there a motion to approve change order number 4 for the tornado safe room project in the amount of $24,550.33 as presented?
So moved. Second.
Stanley Faltis, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0. CTE project.
On the CTE project, we have 7 items included in this change order. This, again, is the final change order. Unlike the safe room project, all those items are completed already. That work is already done on the tornado safe room. Most of the work here is done. There is some work left to do, I believe, on the link to the greenhouse, correct? So most of the rest of this work is completed. There are a few more punch list items that need to be addressed on the project, but this captures the vast majority of the items. This is a total add of $90,000. There's one very large one, and that is the link between the building and the greenhouse. That's a $48,000 item, so it's more than half of the total number. The reason that one was there, we've gone back and forth on this one quite a bit. The initial greenhouse package that was specified included the link. We did not go with that kit. We didn't believe, once we saw what it really was it the quality of the greenhouse that you wanted. So we got a much larger greenhouse and better quality. And at the same time, the fire marshal from the city, basically the code inspector, said we needed to move the building further away. The link needs to be non-combustible as well. So the new price we got for the new greenhouse did not include a link portion with the greenhouse with the new quote. That was a whole separate proposal request and change order. So we've kind of gone back and forth on what was required for the link. So we come up with a concrete block link that'll have metal panels that match the Bobcat Careers edition down below, and the other stuff that kind of wraps around the gym edition, those metal panels. So that's the biggest part of this one. But there are lots of other items that we're really kind of cleaning up the remaining change orders for the project.
The HVAC in the greenhouse, because my understanding is that that hasn't been operational yet.
So there's a controller, humidistat controller that was on back order that should have arrived today. So that should be operational this week.
Okay.
Hopefully tomorrow. So all the other stuff that had to be done in there was completed, but that humidistat controller was faulty.
Okay.
And this is the last change order for this project?
Yes.
CTE, okay.
And so with this change order, Kevin, can you talk to where that puts this in terms of total cost versus, estimated budgeted costs and all that stuff?
You're still more than $1 million under the initial estimated budget. The total change orders, you can see there's a $501,000 plus the $591,000 for the total change orders on the project. But we are still more than $1 million less than the original estimate.
1.6, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Well, it's been a pleasure working with you guys on these projects. We are going to be happy when we can put them to bed and focus on the future projects. But it has been a good experience. And, part of the challenge with these change orders too was, Kevin had engaged along with Jackie early on our teachers so that they had some input. And then when we got, passed the bids and started doing the work, all of a sudden there were other things or other ideas that the teachers had. And so a lot of the changes towards the ends were at the district's request to accommodate those teachers, because if we're going to spend this kind of money to make this kind of change and significant difference in the facility, we want people to be happy with it, obviously. So whether it's how the gas lines were, set up, or I mean, there are a number of different things that we learned after the implementation that needed to be adjusted or changed or added. So.
And did you say, Kevin, with the exception of the greenhouse link, this work is all completed?
I believe this work is completed, but there's also some other kind of outstanding warranty and punch list items, like the flooring down in the shop. It needs to be addressed. But I believe the rest of this work has been completed, yes. The ceiling and leveling of the shop floor is that piece, that $23,000 item that's here, still needs to be finally completed.
That item's been addressed a couple times. We're trying to determine why it keeps popping. So, not by lack of effort, but yeah.
Yeah. Are there any other questions? Then is there a motion to approve change order number 10 for the MHS CTE project in the amount of $90,218.29 as presented?
Move for approval.
Second.
Was that you, Liz?
Yeah.
Or was it Sarah? Oh, sorry. Faltus Morales. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
And thank you for the opportunity to work with the district. It's really been a lot of fun.
Second that. We'll second that. It really has. Last couple of years have been great. You guys are doing great things. So
Thank you.
Thank you. Todd?
All right. I'll just kind of go down real quick unless anybody has any questions on any of them right off the bat that I could answer. One that I do have up there, the auditorium, that new reception counter, kind of explain that one. It's showing a $7,500 place mark. I'll actually purchase the new counter that is ordered. It'll probably be closer to $6,500 our actual cost. Like on a lot of the auditorium shared cost items, the district purchases them, and then the auditorium foundation reimburses the 50% on their end. Some of the others I've got, like a lot of them are the typical, either concrete repairs, asphalt repairs, flooring replacements. I do have a bigger flooring replacement one this year for Rogers Elementary. We'll get in that one, abate 5 of the classrooms that have 9x9 tiles with carpeting on them. Per the principal's request, she kind of wanted VCT in those spaces since they used a lot of rugs and everything in there as well. He said other than that, most of them are pretty standard ones.
What's the door at MHS, the vestibule?
The security vestibule at MHS, it'll be to actually make a security vestibule up by that door 1 area.
Okay.
That way, when visitors come on that side of the building, they'll actually get bugged, like a lot of the elementaries now.
Okay.
It'll actually create a man trap there, which we don't currently have.
Right, okay,
Yep.
perfect, okay.
I think they were also going to put a window in the office of the attendants.
Yeah, so
That
they could,
part of that?
so they could actually be able to see right out instead of a brick wall or block wall that's currently there.
Good idea. Which parking lot is the east parking lot at the high school?
Okay, so if I,
There are a lot of parking lots
Yep.
east of the high school.
well, last year, we did what I would call, and these would be the lots on the frontage road. I did the south, and then, I guess, the southeast lot right next
Closest
to
to
it.
baseball.
Close to baseball, yep, right along that frontage road. The east lot name there would be the laydown construction zone that we've had for the past
Okay.
3 years in there. That one obviously is gonna need some extensive work, just completely redone. So working with CGA right now, they're putting final touches on those prints, so I can send that information out for bids to be done this summer. And we're also gonna look at possibly an alternate to try to, how the new concrete walk comes down from there. And you'll see there's kind of the drop off because of that, is seeing what we could do to modify and make that a nice normal size curb or sidewalk and correct that issue as well. Of course, some of these ticket items you'll see again because I'll have to come back for formal approval.
Any other questions?
I would just say I'm excited that these are being brought before you at this time because it will best ensure that we can get this work contracted and get it done this summer so that it's not lingering on in the fall when school starts and that sort of thing. I mean, there could be some unexpected circumstances that maybe cause one or two of them to be deferred, but this gives plenty of time for us to contract work for this summer. Whereas if, as in the past, it was getting brought to you in late April or May, a lot of these people already have their summers filled. And so that's partly what was happening in the past. So thank you, Todd, for.
Yeah. And then also on ones getting done early, trying to really push on the softball one in hopes that I can get that done before softball season even starts. So we'll actually have paved area and a new walk going down to the new bleachers, so.
Can I make a request that you keep in mind the clock at your first fee schedule, so we're not in someone's elementary?
Always. Yeah, I'm finding out summers, typically, there's always a lot going on still.
It's really tough.
Oh, and yeah, and that was $535,950.
Okay, if there's no other questions, is there a motion to approve the summer 2025 projects list as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Stanley Morales, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you, Todd. Randy, you want to talk about benefits renewal?
I actually don't mind talking about it this year. Just to start with, I always just like to put the guiding parameters in front of the board. These were adopted back in the summer of 2018 when the district had to make some pretty significant changes to our insurance plan offerings and plan design at that time. So these parameters are always where we start every year when we start talking about our insurance renewal. So per the directives that were given by the board at that time that we've continued to maintain, we want to retain better than average plan design and contributions. We want to incent good consumer behavior, incent greater use of our flex spending accounts, ensure that our plans are solvent as we are fully self-insured. So that means that we are essentially the insurance company. And we want to bend and reduce the trend of healthcare, so meaning that we want to keep our claims stable. And then we obviously want to ensure compliance across all plans and employee groups. So Next slide is our benefits committee. Just a recap of that. The purpose of that committee is to serve as an advisory body, basically be a liaison between the district, or the school board, the administration, and the employees. This year, the benefits committee only met one time. Usually we'll meet 2 to 3 times a year, but based off of where our plan was performing, as I'll get into here in a minute, we only needed to meet once this year. And during that meeting on February 5th, we reviewed our medical plan and reviewed some statistics related to our plan. We reviewed some different renewal strategies and options, provided some data ahead of time for the committee that was requested, and then came up with a renewal recommendation for the upcoming year. Next slide is just a quick snapshot of what our current health plans are. We offer 2 plans. One's an HMO plan with a $750 deductible, and then the other one's a Blue Choice point of sale plan that has a $1,250 deductible with that. Next slide, just some current statistics regarding our health plans. Currently, we have 707 employees enrolled and over 1,000 people covered. So that 1,088 would be employees plus their dependents. 68% are on the HMO, while 32% are on that Blue Choice plan. 81% on single, 5% on our employee plus one tier, and then 14% on family. As far as our plan is, our current plan year is running at 5.72 million right now. At this point last year, we were trending at 6.34 million, which is good. So that means our claims are trending downward. Our per employee per month claim costs are also decreasing. Right now we're at $848 per employee per month, where at this time last year we were at $972 per employee per month. Oops, I missed taking that last bullet off of there because ESSER is no longer available for that. So I apologize, I missed getting that taken off. Overview, a lot of green check marks, which I'm happy to share. After reviewing with the committee and with our benefits consultants at Gallagher, estimated rate adjustment for our current health plans for next year is 0%.
Nice.
Overall claims for the plan are currently trending downward. This is due to plan design changes we've made in prior years that have contributed to better plan performance. The only knock against us, which isn't real bad, it's kind of more of we're monitoring it. Our high cost claims, which is really what hit us a couple of years ago when we had to do the 16% increase, those are starting to, while overall compared to this time last year, they're significantly down. They're starting, we've noticed in the last month or two, to start upticking a little bit, but overall, it shouldn't have too large of a negative impact on the plan, that we're still comfortable with the 0% increase for next year. Dental plan remains solvent, no increase needed there. Voluntary benefits, this 24-25 year was our first year of implementing voluntary benefits. Those were well received by our staff, so no changes are recommended there. Flex spending, life, long-term disability, and vision, all stable, and no changes are recommended, as some of those plans don't renew till next year anyway. Just a real quick snapshot. Other benefits, we do have dental insurance. The district does pay the full cost of single dental insurance. We do have a vision plan, which is equipment only. Our vision exams are covered under the health plan for employees that want that. Premiums are 100% employee responsibility under the vision plan. The district does pay life and long-term disability. The premiums are 100% paid for by the district. We do have term life plans, but the amount of the term life plan differs between the employee groups. We also offer health and dependent care flex. Those again are also 100% employee responsibility, and those flex plans run on a calendar year, where everything else runs on a fiscal year of a July to June. And then just a quick recap of the voluntary benefits. These are what we implemented this past year: critical illness, accident, and supplemental life and long-term care. Critical illness is just additional coverage for those that cancer, stroke, heart attack, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, et cetera, some of those more costly illnesses. We also have accident insurance. Helps provide benefits for ER visits, urgent care visits, ambulance, intensive care, et cetera. And then supplemental life and long-term care that provides additional life insurance benefits as well as long-term care benefits such as assisted living or nursing home care. Benefits for that can be anywhere from the $100,000 to $300,000 range depending on what employees enroll in. And all of those voluntary benefits are also 100% employee paid. So our recommendation for next year is no news is good news. So we're recommending no changes for next year. Recommended 0% increase, basically just keep everything the same and business as usual. Again, that's for health, dental, vision, life, LTD benefits, all of those remain the same. Recommend continuing to offer voluntary benefits. Again, those have been well received by our staff. And then recommendations to continue to provide single health and dental coverage for all employees. That means that's what the district would contribute, and then anything in excess of that employees enroll in would be at their cost. We do have a 900 contribution. That's a grandfathered rate for our certified staff that had family coverage prior to July 1 of 2019. I think at this time, we currently have 69 employees that are continuing to receive that benefit. And as people leave or are grandfathered out of that, we have not offered that to anybody else. And so that's helped our plan as well. As always, we continue to remain sensitive to the impact of the labor shortages and inflation on everyone. That was a conversation during the benefits committee meeting. We did talk about potentially doing a 2 to 3% increase just to protect ourselves in the event of another bad year later on down the road like we had a couple years ago. But with some of the instability and uncertainty at the state and federal level governments right now, we felt that our reserves and our plan were in a good spot to give our employees some peace of mind and stick with the 0% increase for next year. But we'll always continue to evaluate and look at possible incremental changes moving forward to ensure that our plan remains solvent and that allows us to offer benefits that are above average. So, real quick, I did want to touch on, we did talk about this at our benefits committee meeting too. We do get a request each year about, what about adding like an employee plus children plan? When it comes to insurance pricing, I think the phrase I used is that sometimes you want to apply logic to an illogical situation. Sometimes it seems like it would make sense that if by adding another plan that might make it cheaper, say for the family plan. However, by adding tiers to a plan, what it does is it increases the administrative complexity, which causes premiums to actually increase. It also exposes the plan to more risk. So when you're adding a tier on, you're growing the amount of premiums needed to cover potential claims. And when you do that, what you end up doing is typically shifting the burden to the family. So, I worked with our benefits consultants and had them pull our demographic data. So like adding or decreasing a tier, whichever way you want to look at it, because it works the same essentially both ways, can essentially add $100 to $200 per month to a family plan. So that is part of the reason why we've decided to just hold where we're at, because while yes, it would benefit some folks, it wouldn't benefit the majority and would end up actually being more costly to more people. So, and then just the next 2 or 3 slides just show what the rates are for the upcoming year, which again, those are the same as what they currently are for the current year. So with that, I will field any questions.
Sarah and Liz, you're on that. Anything you want to share or add from being on that committee?
It's a very pleasant meeting this year, I have to say. As Randy has, alluded to, I really have nothing to add. Everything you said was what we brought up, and the different tier question was one that, that's important to bring up, I think, for the greater good. But yeah.
Any other questions? No. Yes. Yeah. Nice work.
Thank you.
We need a motion to approve the 25-26 renewal for the district's self-insured insurance plan and the cost sharing for the plan as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Faltis, Wise. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. That motion carries 7-0. And instructional support program. You want to talk about that, Randy?
Yep, I've touched on this in the last few meetings with some of the board presentations. So as I've touched on, our current instructional support levy, which is used for any general fund purpose, currently expires at the end of the 25-26 fiscal year. However, we want to start the process now to renew it because it can be renewed in one of two ways, either through board action, which keeps it renewed every 5 years, or you can do it through a general public vote, which will keep it in place for 10 years. Historically, the board has done the every 5 years through board resolution. However, we need to allow 28 days to pass because then the public could petition to have this put on a ballot if they so chose. In that case, by starting the process now, that gives us the 3 special election dates in the upcoming year that we can utilize to put that in front of the public if needed to do that. But the instructional support levy does generate about $2.1 million annually for the district. And again, that is used for, it just goes into the general fund and is used for any general fund purpose. So tonight, the resolution is in front of you to, since we've had the public hearing earlier in the evening, to formally adopt the resolution to continue our participation in the instructional support levy.
Any questions? This is the same resolution that we've had in place for the last, not quite 5 years, but since it was last adopted.
Correct, yeah, and I should have mentioned in the levy, it does allow, so we've done a combination of property tax and income surtax to fund this levy. And so that resolution in front of you tonight does allow us to continue to utilize both the property tax and the income surtax levy to fund that.
And then is it the budgeting process for which is determined how that's split out, or?
Yes, so that's yes, that is done through the certified budget process each year as far as how the board wishes to split the income surtax and property tax portions of that levy.
If there are no further questions, is there a motion to approve the adoption of the resolution to continue participation in the instructional support program for a period of 5 years, beginning with the fiscal year ending June 30, 2027, as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Wise, Stanley? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries 7-0.
All right. Next up is a resolution asking to transfer funds from the general fund to the activity fund for the purchase of new football helmets. So Ryan Esgrig had reached out to me a few weeks ago asking if it would be possible to utilize some general funds to purchase some new football helmets, as they are in need of getting a lot more helmets updated than what he had originally anticipated. So helmets technically under Iowa code have to be purchased out of the activity fund, but there is under Iowa code section 298A.8 allows districts to transfer funds from the general fund for safety equipment. We do have funds that are earmarked in the general fund for activity fund purposes. So there have been various revenues received over the years that technically we have to code within the general fund as an accounting mechanism. We also have other items such as our exclusive vendor contract with Coke, which that's through our MHS concessions. So while it's technically supporting the activity fund, we have to record those Coke revenues within our general fund. So we currently have over $19,000 sitting set aside earmarked for activity fund purposes within the general fund. So just looking for a resolution to utilize those earmarked activity funds within the general fund to transfer over to the activity fund for the purchase of the helmets. So there's no, we're not taking away, I guess, from the general fund, is what I'm saying. It's just an accounting thing that we have to go through.
Has the activity fund been depleted?
It is not. There are funds within the activity fund that they can use for this. Ryan had just requested to just, because of other needs that he has, to utilize these activity earmarked general funds for this purpose.
Has you reached out to the Marshtown Football Club at all?
That I do not know if he has or not.
And if we don't use the earmarked funds for safety equipment, can it be used for other general fund purposes?
Technically, yes.
Other questions? Is this replacing, I mean, are they replacing all of the helmets? Do you know, Randy?
Give me, I don't remember off the top of my head. I'll find Ryan's email real quick.
I'm sure it's a percentage of them. It's not all of them.
No, I don't think it's all of them. Several of their helmets are expired, so it's not all of them. It's just a large chunk of them. I think more are expired than what they had anticipated from looking at Ryan's email here. So not all of them, but a large chunk. Sorry, you were asking.
Like, help me understand, like Miller Middle School, like a year or so ago, they had to come borrow a bunch from MFL because they didn't have enough or have any.
Okay.
How does that, is that through activities funds for the helmets, or how do they get their helmets?
Typically, it would be just straight through the activity fund, right?
Okay.
But since this was larger than anticipated, Ryan was asking to tap into some of those earmarked
But are
funds
you,
in the general fund.
sorry, are you asking about the middle school specifically?
Yes, yes.
How did they get?
How do they get the funding
Their-
for the help? Because they didn't have helmets a year ago or so. They didn't have enough helmets for the kids.
Should be through the activity fund.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other questions? You know where you were thinking?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then, is there a motion to approve the resolution to transfer funds from the general fund to the activity fund in the amount of $11,138 as presented?
Move for approval.
There's some motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Hernandez, Wise. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anybody opposed, say no.
No.
I heard 5-2. I heard 2 no's. Was that Maria or was it you, Leah? I'm sorry.
No, it wasn't me.
Was it Maria?
Me.
Okay. Motion carries 5-2. Okay.
Is there something that you need from the activities department to better understand this? or-
Maybe the amount, because they said that there was still some amount in that activity fund. So what would we need to transfer if there's still amount in that activity fund for this large amount without having the projected amounts that are going to be depleted? If I could have a list and it shows that those are depleted, I think I would be more comfortable than transferring those amounts.
I think that probably would have helped everyone in this situation. to
I
see,
agree. I
Here's
just
what
feel
these
like
are earmarked for.
The general fund is such a protected fund for our staff, for salaries and benefits and all of that, that I don't feel comfortable just sending it to athletics over making sure our staff are taken care of. That's my stance.
And I know kids' safety is first, of course, but I think somebody asked, and that's why, if there was still funds available, if they have been depleted, and then said that there were still funds to cover this cost.
Okay. You got one more resolution, Randy.
Kind of resolutioned out. So the next one is the resolution that we received from our bond attorneys at Allers as well as financial advisors at Piper Sandler. So this is essentially setting the date and moving forward with the sale of approximately, it's easy for me to say, approximately $30 million in saved revenue bonds for the upcoming construction projects. Like this will be Franklin Field. The elementary audiovisual enhancements are the large chunk of, or the projects that will be done first, but then the remaining bonds will be then put towards middle school and a lot of the design costs that we've already incurred up to this point and then beyond. So I did receive a document early this afternoon that I had forwarded to all of you from Piper Sandler. We were waiting on Allers to review. This is a document that basically the board needs to be okay with and accept. There's a lot of information in here. It's a lot of the district financial information. I can tell you that for what it's worth, I have reviewed the entire document, all 53 pages, and updated all of our information. And from what I have been able to see, it's accurate. So if there's any questions on that document or anything that you see in there that you feel needs changed, please let me know. But from our review, that document is good and ready to go. And so the resolution in front of you tonight is to basically take the next step forward so that we can have our special meeting on April 8th to do the bond sale.
Any questions for Randy?
And legal also reviewed the document?
Yes, yep,
Yeah,
yep,
okay.
yes. Allers was the delay we were waiting on. They
Okay,
got back
okay,
to
okay.
us today on it, yep.
So as I recall, I mean, obviously this is $30 million. We're doing this in sort of phases, right?
Correct.
As we need the funding.
Yep, so we're kind of flip-flopping. So we're starting with $30 million in save bonds this spring. Next spring, we'll probably do roughly about $30 million in geo bonds, and then the following year we'll kind of bounce back and forth between the revenue bonds and the geo bonds over the next 4 years.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? If not, is there a motion to approve the adoption of the resolution fixing the date of sale, approving electronic bidding procedures, and approving the official statement for the sale of $30 million of saved bonds as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Baltus Morales? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries 7-0. You got any more resolutions, or are you done for the night?
I'm tapped out.
Okay. Okay, policies. I had the initial review policies. So 907R1, district operation during a public health emergency regulation. There are no changes recommended, and that can be marked as reviewed. The policy 908, the United States Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, no changes are recommended. That can be marked as reviewed. And the same with 908R1, the procedure for displaying the flag. No changes recommended, and that can be marked as reviewed. Any questions? No, sir. Okay. Abby's not here for communications, so we can fly right through that. Any committee reports or committee meetings since the last time we were together?
Internal communications is coming up.
That's coming up Friday, yep.
We had like our initial.
Oh, there's a pre-meeting before the meeting? I didn't know there was a pre-meeting. Wow.
Agenda setting meeting.
Oh.
We don't talk about that, though.
If there's nothing to report there, reminders, Leah has initial review policies for the April 7th meeting. finish your Rise Above Chaos book, and like I said, try and have a couple of questions for Eric, so he's not, just having to fill time. Not that he probably couldn't, but anything anyone would like on a future meeting agenda?
Reminder about Thursday's meeting.
Oh, we do have a meeting Thursday.
Special
meeting.
Here.
Yes.
I don't have that on my calendar.
Okay.
What time is that?
And you'll see an exciting video if you weren't on the core team to see it before.
5 o'clock?
It's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I do have something.
Okay.
Special education has it's not for an agenda, but just a reminder, they have their parent, resource day on Wednesday from 5 to 7, where they're bringing in all kinds of agencies. So,
Oh, yeah.
they are, yes, I will be going because we are involved in that, so.
Where's that at? High school?
At the high school, yeah. I know Mrs. Dale has done a lot of work.
right?
5 to 7, getting different organizations in so that way families can talk to them and, for anything that they might need. So any board members available?
I'll be attending. I was invited to.
Yeah, I'm going to go. And then I do have one other thing.
Go for it.
Mrs. Dale also would like all of the board, this is a long ways away, but I just wanted us to put it on our calendars. She is running the concession stand, and she would like us all to work a Friday night during the football season for concession. So
Is it heated?
it is heated.
That's
So
important.
put it on your calendars. We're all going to work together for concession one night.
Are we
For
like
football
picking a
game.
day and we're all working
I don't know,
together?
but I think we should do it. I think it would be fun,
As a meeting?
right?
Well, I mean.
Team building.
Yeah.
So
okay, if
sorry,
they're
just
gonna-
wanted to
I
add that
prefer
on your
just split
calendar
it.
too.
Have a quorum and-
Okay.
So, yes.
Wear this.
I know. I have to wear that. So, my
Anything
friend.
else, Liz?
I know. I'm so sorry, but I've been waiting.
You're done.
Yes, my friend, my school board friends. So,
All right, what have we done? Dave, when is your student going to be here? Should be here by quarter till. Okay. Okay. What have we done this evening to improve education for the students in Marshalltown?
The Chicago trip is going to be
Yes.
very educational for that group of students, and they are going to get to see some great facilities. So, yeah, for the Health Career Club.
yes. What else?
The benefits renewal
That was good.
at no plan
change.
changes,
That's
no cost changes. That's pretty big.
It is
I don't know that I can recall a time in my time on the board when we have not had some cost increase.
I remember of a time.
Am
we
I
had a
wrong?
One time.
increase.
So a few years ago.
Okay.
I do remember a
Before I
big
came back.
increase one time.
I can remember some big increases, yes.
So
Yes.
thank you.
Closing out the CT project.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. And tornado safe room.
Both of them, right? Doing the final change orders on those, yeah.
Yes.
I was tired of hearing about change orders on those projects.
Well, you get a little break, but then I think you're gonna hear about them again.
That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
Bobcat Cafe.
Yeah.
If you haven't met, go.
Mhm.
They're so proud.
Yes.
They don't serve their baked goods on Sundays because they make them fresh and then they sell them the next morning. So if you want a treat, go on Tuesday or Friday. It's really neat. And then they have T-shirts and tumblers. You can walk out, you can spend a lot more than coffee. Just so you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, really
They
neat.
have more things than just coffee. Yeah. I don't drink coffee, but I got a hot chocolate.
Has it been going well? Like, so far, so we've got traffic and,
Yeah, Randy would know I check in on Thursday mornings, and there's always been people in there waiting. It's fun when it opens, I just hope we can sustain some of that traffic too. And then state esports is a great opportunity for people to come in and get some business.
And I think, changing the subject though, the continuing to participate in the instructional support levy and the instructional support program, I mean, $2.1 million into the general fund. That's pretty big, so.
Be better if the state funded their 14 million from the last 10 years too, but
it would be better.
beggars can't be choosers.
Would be better.
Throwing that out there.
Just stating a fact.
Well, we do what we can do. We do what we can do. Okay, we'll take a break till we go into closed session. So Dave, whenever your student family get here, we'll go into a closed session.